Here are the top stories for today, February 7, 2022. The government officially rolls out COVID-19 vaccination for kids aged 5 to 11 years old. Vaccination centers turn into fun-themed sites and goodies are offered to make the jabs experience more fun for the little ones. The Interior Department sees no need yet for the implementation of a no booster, no entry policy in Metro Manila, saying many have yet to get their booster doses while others remain unvaccinated. MMDA Chair Abalos resigns. He will act as campaign manager of presidential bet Bongbong Marcos as the campaign period for the 2022 polls officially kicks off tomorrow. And an informant gets a 7.8 million peso reward for leading government troops to the neutralization of ranking communist leader Ka Oris Madlos. Good day, I am William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. The national government has successfully rolled out pediatric vaccinations for children 5 to 11 years old. This morning, National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Secretary Cardito Galvez Jr. is present at the National Children's Hospital in Quezon City for the pilot rollout. Galvez says pediatric vaccination is crucial in the resumption of face-to-face classes. Among the kids who received the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is Jamie De Castro, 7 years old. She receives a loot bag after getting the jab. In San Juan City, the COVID-19 vaccination experience became more fun for kids as they see their superheroes and favorite Disney characters. The pediatric vaccination in the city was held at the Phil Oil Center. Children, together with their parents, are briefed about the vaccination drive before receiving the COVID-19 shot. In Pasay City, parents accompany their children at the SM Mall of Asia to avail themselves of the life-saving jabs. In Taguig, the vaccination center at the SM Aura Convention Center is decorated with a superhero theme to entertain children who are getting vaccinated against COVID-19. The Food and Drug Administration has approved the use of the Pfizer vaccine for this age group. Other expert groups such as the Philippine Pediatric Society and the Pediatric Infectious Disease Society of the Philippines have also reviewed and endorsed COVID-19 vaccination in the age group. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año strongly agrees with the decision of a number of Metro Manila mayors to allow only the vaccination of children aged 5 to 11 years old with the consent of their parents or guardians. This after 4 mayors issued the conditions separately, saying they have a responsibility to their constituents whom they must guide and protect. The 4 local chief executives are Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte, Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gatchalian, Malabon City Mayor Len Oreta, and Navotas City Mayor Toby Tiangco. Año said the consent of the parents whose children will receive the vaccine is something that should be done. The Philippine Pediatric Society and the Pediatric Infectious Disease Society of the Philippines have issued a joint statement expressing alarm over recent reports of a few doctors who caused undue fear and have stirred considerable vaccine hesitancy among parents and guardians. They urge some doctors to be unequivocal as COVID-19 disease directly affects children and may lead to serious consequences. They said vaccination is the most effective way to prevent COVID-19, and as vanguards of the health of the Filipino child, they will continue to monitor data on vaccine safety, efficacy, and effectiveness, and will provide updates as needed to guide COVID-19 vaccination recommendations in children. The group, meanwhile, reiterates their full support for the Department of Health and National Task Force program to inoculate children aged 5 to 11 against COVID-19. The Octa research team is seeing a continuous decline in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. It says the country might be seeing a return to pre-Omicron surge by the end of the month. Octa projected a decline of COVID-19 cases to only 1,000 to 2,000 by the end of the month, following the reported average new daily infections of 8,422 from February 1 to 5 from the previous 17,025. Octo Research Fellow Dr. Guido David says that while cases are decreasing in most parts of the country, the trends are still uneven due to backlog. DILG Chief Eduardo Año is not amenable to the no booster cards, no entry policy suggested by the Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion. Concepcion earlier said the proposal aims to protect the public against COVID-19, but Año fears it will only result in the slowdown of the economy as over 500,000 individuals in Metro Manila remains unvaccinated. In an interview, Año said the policy has not yet been discussed by the IATF. He said the government is still ramping up the administration of the primary series or the first and second dose of COVID-19 vaccines. The government is set to launch its third National Vaccination Day on Thursday, February 10 until Friday, February 11. Año said the third round of the simultaneous inoculation days in the country aims to vaccinate at least 2 million individuals for the primary series and 4 million for booster jabs. The Philippine National Police says at least 590 areas in the country have been placed under granular lockdown. In its report, the PNP says the Cordillera Administrative Region, or CAR, posted the highest number of areas placed under lockdown at 302, while Metro Manila was reported 6 areas, all of which are in the Manila Police District. The PNP says over 1,300 individuals have been affected by the lockdowns. Still ahead, MMDA Chair Abalos resigns. We find out later his next step. And it's a wrap for some aspiring lawyers as the bar exams conclude, but some are not just as lucky because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Details ahead. Keep it here on the PNA Newsroom. The official campaign period for nationally elected positions starts tomorrow and will end on May 7. Under the COMELEC Resolution number 10730 or the Implementing Rules and Regulation of the Fair Elections Act, the official campaign period for the national candidates is set tomorrow, February 8, while local candidates can start their campaign on March 25 until May 7. There are 10 candidates for president, 9 for vice president, 64 senatorial and 178 party list groups who will vie for this year's national election. COMELEC sets rules during the campaign period. Among these are the prohibition from conducting raffles, as it is considered a form of vote buying. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez also reminds candidates that printed campaign materials must conform to Fair Elections Act regulations as to the size and location of posting. Meanwhile, the campaign period for locally elected positions will start on March 25 to end on May 7. Campaigning is not allowed on Maundy Thursday, April 14th, and Good Friday, April 15th. Election Day is set on May 9th. MMDA Chairperson Ka Abalos has vacated his post to serve as the national campaign manager of presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos. In his resignation letter to President Rodrigo Duterte dated February 4, Abalos said that with utmost gratitude he is tendering his resignation effective today to devote his time to the campaign of Partido Federal standard-bearer Bongbong Marcos. He adds that as the country nears the endemic stage of COVID and with protocols in place, he is confident that the country is well equipped to deal with future COVID-related challenges. He said he opted not to resign earlier as the country was then facing a surge due to the Omicron variant. The Western Mindanao Command is undertaking preparations to ensure peaceful and orderly national and local elections in its area of jurisdiction this May. Lieutenant General Alfredo Rosario Jr., commander of West MINCOM, is visiting the different provinces under its jurisdiction to establish rapport, strengthen collaboration with local officials, and assess the situation on the ground. Rosario recently visited Misamis Occidental, wherein he paid a courtesy call on Governor Philip Tan on Thursday in Tangub City. The governor's wife, Tangub City Mayor Jennifer Tan, was also present to welcome Rosario and his party. Governor Tan assured that politicians in the province of Misamis Occidental did not resort to political violence. Meanwhile, in Negros Oriental, police have arrested 9 persons across the province for violating the COMELEC ban on the carrying of firearms and other deadly weapons. The suspects were arrested either at a checkpoint or during police operations. The COMELEC gun ban took effect on January 9, the start of the election period. Meanwhile, election officers have been directed to identify COMELEC-designated common poster areas for political candidates before February 8, the start of the campaign period for national candidates. The COMELEC is set to conduct simultaneous taking down of illegal posters. The Philippine Navy's BRP Jose Rizal has transported 6 tons of much-needed relief supplies to communities in Palawan still reeling from the effects of Typhoon Odette. Among the unloaded items are 6 tons of cargoes composed of solar lights, lona, tarpaulin, 30 sacks of rice, 211 bags relief goods, 10 boxes of clothes and cookware, 1 box of shoes, 2 packs of women's underwear, 66 boxes of diapers, and boxes of canned goods. The BRP Jose Rizal is one of the 27-ship flotilla deployed to help communities devastated by Odette. Over 10,000 aspiring lawyers finished taking this year's bar exams. However, hundreds failed to even take the test. The Office of the Bar Chairperson said at least 219 tested positive for COVID-19. A still undetermined number of examinees were disqualified for violating policies and the honor code. Supreme Court Associate Justice and Bar Chair Marvic Leonen said that among the violations were non-disclosure of previous positive COVID-19 test results, bringing in mobile phones inside the exam rooms, and accessing social media while in the testing center during lunch break. Leonen said he owes it to those who risked their lives for the 2020 to 2021 bar exam to push through despite all odds. He told those who caught COVID-19 not to lose hope and those who violated exam rules to reflect on their actions and restore their honor. A total of 11,378 examinees took the bar exams, which started on Friday and ended on Sunday. The Philippines is likely to experience a fresh surge in HIV infections in the coming years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Anak Kalusugan Party List Representative Michael Defensor reported over 12,000 new HIV infections in 2021, up by 54% from the 8,000 new cases detected in 2020. The National HIV/AIDS Registry reported about 94,000 confirmed cases last year. Defensor said the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the delivery of and access to HIV prevention, testing, and treatment services. He said next Congress may have to increase annual funding for HIV prevention and treatment to cope with the increase in infections. Meanwhile, about 56,000 Filipinos living with HIV were undergoing daily lifelong antiretroviral therapy as of December 2021. Defensor, however, said only 63% of the cases are receiving treatment, which is way below the 90% target. The Russian embassy in Manila at upscale Dasmariñas village in Makati City sustained at least 100 million pesos worth of damage after it was hit by a fire on Friday night. The fire reportedly started on the second floor and reached the second alarm. It was eventually put out early Saturday morning. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the cause of the fire is still under investigation. No casualties were reported, and employees and family members in the embassy were evacuated. In a separate statement, Russian Ambassador Marat Pavlov said all his personnel have been accounted for and are safe. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs assured the Russian embassy it will uphold the inviolability of its premises following the massive fire. In a statement, the DFA said it upholds the inviolability of the mission's premises and its right to protection from intrusion or disturbance as provided under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. It also extended support to the authorities in the investigation of the incident. President Rodrigo Duterte has urged senators to leave the matter of the sale of the Malampaya gas field shares to the involved entities in the business sector. In a statement on Friday, Duterte slammed the Senate resolution recommending charges against Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi and other officials over the approval of the sale of shares in Malampaya. Duterte said the government values the critical role and contribution of Malampaya to energy security. He maintained that the government's rights remain intact amid the developments involving the agreement. Duterte also said that the private transaction between private entities must be respected. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian penned the resolution recommending the filing of criminal and administrative charges against the DOE officials. He said they railroaded the approval of the sale of the 45% interest in the Malampaya gas project of Chevron Malampaya LLC Philippines. These shares were sold to UC Malampaya, an indirect subsidiary of Udena Corporation, despite an alleged lack of financial qualification. Up next, heads up for international travelers, make sure your documents are complete before coming to the Philippines. And a bountiful endeavor for an informant after getting the reward for the neutralization of a ranking CPP-NPA leader. More stories when the PNA Newsroom returns. The Department of Tourism, or DOT, reminded foreign tourists planning to visit the Philippines to prepare all entry requirements to make their travel hassle-free. The Interagency Task Force issued Resolution number 160-B, which details the new entry, testing, and quarantine protocols for foreigners coming from 157 visa-free countries starting February 10. Only fully vaccinated foreign visitors will be allowed entry to the country. Children below 12 years of age will be exempted if they are traveling with fully vaccinated foreign parents. Those who are traveling with Filipino parents will be required to follow the entry, testing, and quarantine protocols that their parents took. Meanwhile, those between 12 to 17 years old must follow the protocols based on their vaccination status. Earlier, Malacanang said foreign nationals traveling for business or tourism purposes may enter the Philippines without visa starting February 10. Those qualified are former Filipino citizens with Balikbayan privilege under Balikbayan program law, including their spouse and children who are not Balikbayans and are traveling with them provided they are not restricted nationals. Authorities dismantled the drug den in Subic, Zambales Saturday night. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, said the drug den in Purok 3, Barangay Matain was a house owned by 35-year-old Larlin Puno. Aside from Puno, PDEA and police operatives arrested 5 suspects, including a teenager on the scene. The operation yielded some 55 grams of suspected shabu amounting to 374,000 pesos, assorted drug paraphernalia, and the buy-bust money. And in Butuan City, some 136 former users of illegal drugs from Barangay Duongan completed their 24-day community-based drug rehabilitation program on Saturday. The graduates are qualified to undergo livelihood and skills training under the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, and the Barangay Government of Duongan. More than 100 drug dependents are expected to join the next batch scheduled in March this year. During the graduation ceremony, Duongan Barangay Captain Gilberto Enriquez said around 400 individuals involved in illegal drugs in their barangay have surrendered to authorities since 2016. However, after their surrender, some went back to illegal drugs and ended up arrested or killed. The government has awarded a 7.8 million peso bounty to the informant that helped troops neutralize NPA leader Ka Oris last year. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and Armed Forces Chief of Staff General Andres Centino awarded the money at Camp Evangelista in Cagayan de Oro City. Lorenzana commended the informant for his bravery and thanked him for trusting the government. The defense chief hoped that others would emulate what they did to help end the local communist armed conflict. Madlos was killed in an encounter with the troops of the 4th Infantry Division in Barangay Dumalaging, Impasugong, Bukidnon on October 30, 2021. Madlos faced multiple criminal cases such as robbery with homicide, damage to properties, murder, and double frustrated murder. Government forces are still hunting down Madlos's widow, Mirna Solarte alias Maria Malaya, the secretary of the NPA Northeastern Mindanao Regional Committee. Lawag City in Ilocos Norte is celebrating its Pamulinawen Festival on February 10 with tightened protocols in place due to the pandemic. Malacanang has declared February 10 a special non-working day under Proclamation number 1088 signed by Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea. The Pamulinawen Day also celebrates Feast of Saint William the Hermit, Lawag City's patron saint. As per tradition, a band will march around the city at the first light of day. There will also be a mass and a theatrical presentation dubbed Comedia Ilocana, featuring a Moro-Moro fight due to the forbidden romance between a prince and princess. Other activities include an agro-industrial fair and fiesta at the Aurora Park, Miss Lawag Beauty Pageant, pet show, 4x4 Sand Dune Challenge, and Fluvial Parade. Lawag still has 167 active COVID-19 cases as of Sunday. Let's take another look at today's biggest stories. The government officially rolls out COVID-19 vaccination for kids aged 5 to 11 years old. Vaccination centers turn into fun-themed sites and goodies are offered to make the jabs experience more fun for the little ones. The Interior Department sees no need yet for the implementation of a no booster, no entry policy in Metro Manila, saying many have yet to get their booster doses while others remain unvaccinated. MMDA Chair Abalos resigns. He will act as campaign manager of presidential bet Bongbong Marcos as the campaign period for the 2022 polls officially kicks off tomorrow. And an informant gets a 7.8 million peso reward for leading government troops to the neutralization of ranking communist leader Ka Oris. As Filipinos, we all have a vital role to play in preventing the spread of COVID-19. So remember, wear your face masks and face shields, wash your hands often, practice safe physical distancing, go out only for essential reasons, and get vaccinated as soon as possible to protect ourselves, our families, and the community. Together, we can beat COVID-19. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. For more news content, check our webpage or log on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, we tell stories that inspire change. I am William Theo. Good day, everyone.